Hello, everybody. What a whirlwind of the past couple days have been in the Big Brother 27 house. Coming off of Zach going home with the power in his pocket like the idiot that he was. Zach was never game smart in this game. I've been calling it out the whole time and glad to see that I was right in the end. And then I must talk about Keanu being the one winning the blockbuster. But I have to start this video with my annoyances, which is it's easy for me to be annoyed, but have become more and more annoyed with Keanu. This is just the way it's going to have to be. I can only take the stupidity for so long. Like, it was entertaining, it was messy for a time. But after a while, it becomes nauseating to me. The stupidity that Keanu has is nauseating. The fact that yesterday, a few hours before the blockbuster, he was contemplating throwing it again, that he was going to throw it for Vince to win. As I said in my last video 2 nights ago, Keanu was doing a better job vouching for Vince to stay over himself. And if he hadn't won the blockbuster, he was going home. He was going home against Zach or Vince, so he needed to win the blockbuster, and yet he was considering throwing it to Vince, and Rachel had to talk him out of it. It's too much. It's too much stupidity from Keanu. That's why I can't sit here and pretend to root for a Rachel and Keanu duo. Now, we must talk about Rachel winning HOH, of course, but my other annoyance is that it does seem as though production rigged it for Rachel. You know, the rumor was from a very trusted source who's already been right a couple times this season that there was going to be the wall this week. But with all eyes turning towards Rachel as a target, suddenly it wasn't the wall anymore. It was an HOH that she had a better chance in. She ends up winning. And well, I don't mind Rachel being the HOH, and I feel like this season at least needed one HOH from her. My problem is the season she won was very much rigged in her favor, like one of the most hardcore rigged seasons ever, and I just don't want to see that again. And if they continue down this path, it's going to become more and more obvious that they're rigging it for Rachel, and that's no fun to me. So I have problems with that. Now, I am happy that Rachel is HOH for now, but like I said, I can't stomach a Keanu and Rachel duo. Like, it's too much clown shit for me, because Keanu is a clown. Rachel sometimes looks like Ronald McDonald herself, so it's too much. I'm glad Rachel called Keanu out on the fact that every time she tells him information, he immediately runs it back to Vince, and pointed out that she can see him do that, told him to get less messy. And while it seemed like he listened early this morning to all of this, Keanu's like Groundhog Day. He does the same thing over and over. Like, he can't help himself. And by this afternoon, he was already still trying to pitch to Rachel that they need to be an alliance with Vince. He's been trying to do this for days, bringing Vince and Rachel together, and it's just not going to happen. But he's not going to give it up, because Keanu gets stuck in his terrible thought processes, in these grand delusions that he lives in, and it's getting hard for me. It's irritating me. It's very much irritating watching Keanu do the same thing over and over, and it's always dumb shit over and over. I can't stomach it any longer. So we'll see how long it lasts before Keanu continues to just go back and give Vince information that Rachel's telling him. It's inevitable. I expect it to happen at least sometime this week, a few times, if not every day, like it's been for the past several weeks. Now Rachel's HOH, she handled it being kind of secretive from literally everybody. She was keeping nominees a secret of who she was going to nom, telling everyone some vague things while trying to get information out of people. I mean, it's a way you kind of should play HOH. Rachel is not brand new to this. You use HOH to get information, to try and see if you can see the real lay of the land going on in the game. And I do think that's what Rachel has been trying to do with this HOH. And I kind of get Rachel's nominees to an extent. I, of course, have a problem with one big thing, but her nominees ended up being Vince, Morgan, and Mickey. And I get that she sees these are three people coming for her sooner rather than later, and she's definitely right about that. So I get her nominees. I really do. Vince has been the person that she's been wanting out because he has a lot of influence over a lot of players in this game. It's a very logical thing. Mickey has been the person that has been trying to be the dictator in the house. Mickey Mussolini, as I like to call her. I liked Brad Pitt's comment calling her Mickey Mouselini. That was very good wordplay. Brad Pitt's, not to be confused with Brad Pitt, who Mickey delusionally thinks Rylie looks like. But Brad Pitt's in the comments. I like Mickey Mouselini as well. So I get her nominating Mickey. Mickey's been way too much the past 2 weeks. She has been playing very, very hard and very, very dumb at times. So I get it. The Morgan nomination only makes sense if Mickey is her target, because the real thing is, like, if that's not the reason she nominated Morgan, I think it's kind of an emotional nomination, if not, because the truth is, as annoying as Morgan has been about talking about jury and telling Rachel that she wants Rachel in the jury, Rachel's the one that picked that fight with Morgan. So I feel like she thinks Morgan was coming hard after her. And after last week, that definitely probably started to rise as well. But Rachel was a big part of it rising quicker because she picked a fight with Morgan. And I understand why. I would have gotten sick of hearing Morgan talking about bringing me to jury as well. I just feel like if you're nominating Morgan with Vince and Mickey, then Mickey has to be your target because Vince is going to have way more votes to stay, more likely. So that's the only confusing thing about her nominations, is she's been so gung-ho about getting Vince out that if Vince was her real target, and it's hard to say maybe it should be because Mickey has been very hard-pressed against Rachel the past few days specifically. So I guess Rachel would like to get Mickey out before Mickey comes to her. That makes sense. But her whole game has been laser focused on Vince. And now you're still putting Vince up so he could come for you next week. I don't know. I get the nominations, but I struggle to not think that there is some emotional play on the side of the Morgan and Mickey noms, even though they totally do make sense. But she's had tunnel vision for Vince. And Vince is probably not going with these nominations. Here's my main annoyance of this entire past 2 days. It is Rachel's love for showmances. And I get she was in one, but she's being so pro showmance in this creepy, gross showmance. I posted a short about Rylie being a creep. Most people get it. Some comments act like it's too much, that Riley's not really a creep, or that Kat is a weirdo too. And Kat is a weirdo too. I've been saying that the whole time. Kat is a weirdo too. However, that does not take away from the fact that Rylie is really, really creepy in this controlling, stalkerish way. And last night, Kat was looking for space from Rylie, or the wee hours of the morning. Kat was trying to have space from Rylie. And Rylie did his usual thing where he tried to emotionally manipulate her, fake crying as clear as day, to try and emotionally manipulate her like she's hurting his feelings. It's just too much. It's such a gross man's. It doesn't make me love Rachel that she's so gung ho about one of the probably the creepiest showmans the show's ever had. Definitely has to be, because the cowboy from Big Brother 16, that wasn't a real showmance. He was just a stalker. Kat is playing into this showmance. She has been kissing him and all that. But every time she tries to get distance from him, he pulls out his arsenal of being a weird emotional manipulator, but also like it's not even love bombing. I don't even know what to call what Rylie is doing to her. It's like it's overkill. It's beyond love bombing. It's like love harassment. If that's what I'm going to call it from now on. He is love harassing her in a way where it's so overbearing every single day. How he feels it in his bones that he's going to marry her even though they've only known each other for a month, and she tries to get distance and he has to pretend cry to try and make her feel like the bad guy. It's so toxic. It really is. So I don't respect Rachel's love of the showmance, but I also don't respect it on a game level because as HOH, Rachel has talked to everyone and she has said this out of her own mouth that she is realizing that a lot of the house wants to take Rylie really, really far. And thus Riley's in a showmance, and a showmance is a 2-vote voting block. And it's thanks to Rachel, much like thanks to Mickey, much like thanks to Ava, they're just getting in a better and better spot every single week because they are now the swing vote. But I guess Rachel thinks she can work with the gross mans, even though they are two Vinny lovers themselves. So I'm not saying Rylie should be her main target, but the logic is sound on why he could and should be, because he is becoming in this really, really good spot despite not even playing much, because people do love him for some reason, even though he is a creep. Anyway, before making nominations, I did like Mickey taking over an hour to try and manipulate Rachel before nominating her. I think where Mickey went wrong is trying to throw Keanu under the bus to Rachel. That probably wasn't going to work. Mickey was doing a lot of twisting truths and a lot of lying to try and throw Keanu and Kelly under the bus to Rachel. I liked the play of at least maybe trying to throw Kelly under the bus. But then when Rachel wanted to go to Kelly to try and confront her about the information Mickey was telling Rachel about Kelly, Mickey was like, oh, no, I don't want to get into it with Kelly. But she was really saying, no, because Kelly would have threw Mickey right under the bus, that Mickey was targeting Rachel. That's where Mickey really went wrong these past few days, is by telling the whole house that Rachel needs to go soon. Rachel needs to go before a jury. That was Mickey overplaying. But Mickey still does have people like Ashley, Ava, Will that want to keep her in the game, and it makes sense. It's for their own game. I'm glad Ashley and Ava are playing their own games and not just playing for Rachel to win like the fandom seems to want to happen now. Twitter has reached the point where they're getting on my nerves with the Rachel love. I said this last time that it's getting to the point now where if people aren't playing for Rachel to win, they're just so dumb, and that's just not the case. The fact is, as much as Mickey runs Ashley's name into the ground sometimes, Mickey has done the job of keeping Ashley off the block. And who else is Ashley supposed to work with? Because Kat and Rylie are not going to work. with Ashley, neither is Vince. So like Ashley does still need Mickey in the game for her own game. And Ava and Mickey have a good game relationship too. So them wanting to keep Mickey is not dumb. There will be a narrative out there on social media. Some of the big podcasters might pick up on that because they like to, try and be in the popular opinion, but it's just not something I can do. I like to be in the logical opinions. Ashley and Will had a great conversation after nominations and talking about how they can't be mad at Rachel even though Mickey wants them to be. And furthermore, Ashley was just so dead on about the showmance skating by as a 2-person voting block, and they could just go from person, like each vote, they could change who they want to keep. Like they are starting to have more and more power when it comes to voting because numbers are dwindling, but they're a 2-person voting block. And she's the only person calling that out. They're also right about Rachel trying to work with Keanu and Kelly, who can't hold any water and tell everything to Vince. Ashley and Will are spot on about that. Hell, Ashley even had a good read that Zach was probably talking crap about her after being eliminated, which he tried to do, calling her dumb in an interview when he was the dumbass that went home with a power in his pocket. Like, Zach, not just a butterface, he has a smooth brain as well. Anyway, to end this, I will say this. Mickey got pretty petty after being nominated, talking about Rachel's age and how everyone blows smoke up Rachel's ass. Like, oh, you don't look a day over 26. And yet Rachel acts like the oldest person in the house, but Will is the oldest. And Mickey told Will, well, you don't look it, but Rachel does. Rachel looks every day of 41. And I didn't mind this shit talking pettiness. I mean, as someone who likes to talk his crap, I mean, I will call Zach a butterface and stand by it. I don't mind petty jabs. I don't. The problem with Mickey is that I just can't stand her delusions. If she could get out of her delusions and embrace being the villain, I will want her to stay this week. I will, because it will bring more entertainment to me, and that's at the end of the day what I care about personally. She's saying she's not going to be nice anymore. The fact is, she hasn't been nice for weeks. That's been her like facade, that she's this really nice faith-based person, which, by the way, Mickey and Morgan prayed before the blockbuster that they wanted Vince or Zach to win. We saw how that worked out. Mickey's like batting 0 when it comes to praying about this game, so maybe she should just stop, because she's not. Maybe God sees that Mickey has not been making faith-based decisions, and every time she prays about something, the opposite's going to happen. But if she gets past these illusions and, embraces being the villain, I would love for Mickey to stay. I think it would make for better television. That means Morgan has to go probably this week. That's who I would see going. Nobody on the block right now is going to have the votes to stay against Vince, which is why Vince should go sooner rather than later. The only person that might be on the block that Vince goes is Rylie somehow, because this house is that damn stupid that they can't see how creepy Rylie is with Kat, and they want to just be gung-ho about a showmance that is a 2-person voting block. The stupidity of the season really is bad. It is one of the stupidest casts ever, for sure. But I've kind of started liking Morgan these past few days. I'm not gonna lie. Like, she's still crying about Zach leaving. She's still complaining about how Zach was so into Lauren and not her. She's still doing that today, which is still pathetic. But to me, like, watching Morgan on feed, she's a little more, not even a little, she's a lot more likable than some of this cast. Like, Watching Riley and Kat be weirdos is not fun. Watching Mickey be rude but not, try and pretend she's not, is not fun. Although she was cracking me up with her anger, being petty about Rachel's age. And Kelly, I don't really like her either. Keanu's a headache because he's that damn stupid. So, Morgan's okay in my book right now, but I am still glad Morgan and Mickey are on the block. I've been wanting this since 2 weeks ago, that Mickey HOH from hell, I guess, did have repercussions. Surprise, surprise.